What's up everyone, Carter says now, welcome back to another video. Today we got my AEW Revolution 2023 review, and this was a fantastic show last night. AEW knocked it out of the park, as they always seem to do with these pay-per-views. Very good show, and let's not waste time because we do have a lot of good stuff to get into, and I'll give my overall thoughts at the end, but it was a good show. So yeah, starting off with the 0 hour pre-show. It was mainly just hype videos and interviews backstage, hyping up the show. Renee Paquette hosted it alongside RJ City, who was doing the backstage stuff. Renee, fantastic job as always. Whatever role you put Renee in, she always seems to deliver in it. She's very good asset to have in any company, and again, she's shown her like talent there. Like, I'd have Renee hosting these every month or every show from now on. So then we did have one match on the pre-show, which was the Lucha Brothers and Mark Briscoe teaming up to take on the Varsity Athletes and Ari Daivari. So of course that's Tony Nese and Josh Woods. Very good match. Very fun pre-show match. Did what I needed to get the crowd hyped. It was a lot of action, a lot of fast-paced stuff. The Lucha Bros were doing their thing. Nese, Woods, and Daivari, all good workers. They got to show what they can do as well. Mark, again, great wrestler, got to show what he can do, and he picked up the win first team with the Froggy Bow. After the match, Penta hits Mark Sterling with the package pile driver. Am I missing anything else from my notes here? No, but yeah, match did what it needed to do. Good trios match on the pre-show, get the crowd going and set the tone for the night. Then we move on to the main show, which opened up with Chris Jericho and Ricky Starks. I accidentally scrolled down too far in my notes. Starks gets the victory over Jericho with Rochambeau. Finish comes after Sammy Guevara tries to run down, even though the Jericho Appreciation Society was banned from ringside. So I wonder what comes from that, if there's any consequences and stuff. So yeah, interested to see how that plays out. But he gets stopped by Action Andretti. This distracts Aubrey because there's a fight on the outside. She gets a bit distracted. Jericho hits Starks in the ribs with Floyd the Bat. Of course, Ricky had his ribs taped up, and Jericho was kind of working over the ribs throughout the match. Jericho went for Judas Effect, gets blocked. Ricky then hits him with a couple of forearms and strikes before setting him up. Rochambeau, 1, 2, 3. Ricky Starks, your winner over Chris Jericho. And actually, Ricky, a lot of people were complaining about the bill, saying it was a bit backwards. Why would Ricky want Jericho, even though he already beat man? I was watching the scrum before I recorded this video, and Ricky had a perfect answer for that. And if they have him say this on Dynamite and kind of explain it to the wider audience, it would why it makes sense. So basically, Ricky said, well, he's a former AEW champion. If I beat an AEW champion twice, surely that puts me back in the front of the line, or back into contention, because he did have that match where he lost to MJF. So at least Ricky had a reason. So hopefully they do explain that on television as well, because I know a lot of people who watched might watch the media scrums and may have missed it. But at least they had a reason to why, even though Ricky beat Jericho already, he wanted to have this match with me again. One spot that I did really like in this matchup was when Jericho countered a spear into a code breaker. And it wasn't one where Jericho was standing still and Starks ran into him and he caught him. Both men were hitting the ropes. Starks hit a leapfrog, hit the rope then, and he goes for the spear. Jericho catches him coming off the other rope with the code breaker. And it looked good because both men were coming off the ropes with momentum. It just made it look clean. And yeah, I really liked just how it looked with the momentum behind it as well. Yeah, really liked the match. Good opening matchup right here. Ricky Starks, the right choice to get the win. And yeah, there was a lot of people were saying, oh, there's Andretti turning, like he joins the JS and all this. No, we get a clean finish. Well, apart from the like bit of a running, but Sammy and Andretti didn't actually get involved in the match. There was like no contact around. They just kind of caused a bit of distraction, which allowed for the bat to be used. But yeah, Ricky gets the win clean enough here. This should be interesting to see what Ricky goes on and does. Like as I said, he did mention kind of going for the world title. Would I do that now? I'd probably hold off on that bit, but I do think Ricky Starks should kind of start building up to that main event level, because he has future world champion written all over him. And yeah, good match there to kick off the main card. Then we have the final burial match between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. Final burial was basically a casket match, kind of mixed with a buried alive match. You had to put your opponent into the casket, but it was placed kind of in like a grave at the top of the ramp. So like you had to close the lid on it. And there was a kind of like a buried alive match where like there's the hole and the dirt and stuff. And yeah, this was a fun match. Great heat on Christian Cage here. Fuck you, Christian, and fuck him up, Jungle Boy. Fuck him up, Chance. Christian, a fantastic heel. I love Christian Cage. I'm happy to see him back from his injury. And now we have this natural blow off to the feud with Jungle Boy. Interested to see where they go both men here. Yeah, it was like mainly a brawl around the arena and around ringside, which you'd expect from this match and the build. It shouldn't have been like a technical masterclass with all the stuff Christian has said about Jungle Boy's dad and his family. It made sense for this to be a brawl and for both men kind of trying to take each other out. Some highlights that I have noted down here: Jungle Boy doing a dive off the stage onto Christian. Christian then at one point hits the ear onto like the dirt. The finish of the match came when Jungle Boy locks in the snare trap and used the shovel, like the handle of the shovel, to help lock it in, which caused Christian to pass out. Jungle Boy then hits a concerto, this takes Christian out, and he is placed into the casket. And Jungle Boy closed the lid. He kind of had a bit of hesitation. He was looking at him, but then he did finally. He pulled down the casket, ending the stuff for Christian once and for all. It seems like, and yeah, fun match, very enjoyable. And again, two great matches to kick off the show. Well, three, including the pre-show match. Then we move on to another banger of a match. The Elite defended trios titles against the House of Black. Start off with the Kenny Omega and Buddy Matthews stare down. Of course, this is kind of something that people have been wanting to see for a while. That was good. Crowd was super hot for this one. They were very loud. They were good all throughout the night. Great crowd. I believe they're in San Francisco for this one. The crowd there was amazing for this show, but they're really into this matchup. Match was incredible, as you'd expect with both these teams. All six fantastic wrestlers, and once this match got made, everyone kind of expect this to be one of the contenders for match of the night, and they did not disappoint. I know a lot of people were kind of not really too happy with the build because they felt it was a bit too short and they want a bit more. And Tony Khan was actually kind of asked about this in the media scrum afterwards, and he even said, yeah, I would have liked to have done it longer, but if you look at it, they had the issues with Kenny and his visa, so they couldn't really start then. And then he mentioned that they had some, like, Buddy wasn't there for like a couple of things, and they kind of had to start with just Malachi and Brody. So say what you want about the build. I didn't think it was too bad. Could you've done more to build it? Yes, but like as Tony said, it kind of out of his hands with the visa issues. But we did get this match. It was an incredible matchup, and it was fantastic. Finish was awesome. Buddy Matthews catches Nick with a knee, made a Meltzer driver. He goes up, does the flip, gets caught with the knee. This allows Malachi to hit the Black Mass into Dante's Inferno for new AEW World Trios Champions. happy with this. I'm a big fan of the Elite, but I also really like House of Black, so I'm happy to see House of Black get the belts and to kind of have something to do now. I'm interested to see what happens with the Elite. I know there's all the speculation about the contracts and stuff. And yeah, I don't know if they will leave AEW, but I'm interested to see where they go in terms of, they lost the trios belts now. Do they stick together as trios? Do the Young Bucks kind of go and focus on tag team stuff? Does Kenny focus on single stuff? Of course, he is still the IWGP US champion. So you're very intrigued to see where this goes, and this opens the door then for House of Black to do some amazing trio stuff. You could do House of Black versus Death Triangle. Even though I'm pretty sure they had a big feud throughout last summer. And yeah, I think House of Black can do some good stuff. It'll have some good matches. I'm very happy to see House of Black win, as I said. And yeah, interested to see where the Elite go. I've mentioned that already. So let's move on to our next match. But yeah, that was incredible and one of the matches of the night. Next up, we had Jamie Hayter, Ruby, Soho, and Saraya. Again, crowd were still up for this one. I thought maybe after that Epic Trios match, they may be a bit burnt out, but they weren't. They were loud, especially for Jamie Hayter. They were really into Jamie and really behind Jamie. With a few Ruby Soho chants in between, be like Jamie Hayter, and then there'd be a few quieter Ruby Soho chants dueling at points. Again, another really good matchup. I really enjoyed this one. Again, just delivering great match here. All three women did fantastic in this one. Finish did feel a bit flat with Jamie kind of just getting a crucifix on Ruby out of nowhere. It didn't kind of build it to it. It kind of just happened, and it did fall a bit flat, but it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the match overall. Post-match, Tony and Saraya then beat down on Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. Ruby does make the save, and it looks like she is going to side with the AEW Originals team before she swerves and takes out both Britt and Jamie. And then they do the thing where Saraya and Tony have been doing, where they spray paint them. And yeah, a lot of people aren't really enjoying the story. I quite like it. I think it's, it's something that, you're doing with a lot of your top women's talent. Very interested to see where this goes. It could lead to the first women's Blood and Guts match, where you have Team AW versus the outsiders. You have Ruby, you have Saraya, you have Tony. You could probably get one or two more in there. I'm trying to there as well. You could have Rio. You can have Jamie. You can have Britt. You can have Riho. You can even bring Sheeta back because she was involved at the beginning of this. So yeah, a lot of stuff you could go with this one, and interested to see how this plays out. I am happy to see. I'm interested to see Ruby turn heel. If this means she has a bit of more of a role, then yeah, I'm happy to see more of Ruby Soho on my TV. So if this gives her something more to do, then I'm not going to complain. She's since she's come in, she's had a title match. Might be against who was champion? Was it Britt? I can't remember. Actually, maybe it might be Thunder Rosa either. But I remember she had a title match when she first came in. She did some stuff with Jade and TBS Championship, and now, she's getting involved in this, and I'm interested to see how this plays out and where it does go. Like I said, it does look like they could build to a Blood and Guts if that is where they want to go with this. So yeah, let's wait and see how the rest of this story plays out. Up next, Hangman Page, Jon Moxley, Texas Death Match. Hangman had new music. I have written here that in my notes that I written last night. I'm not sure if it was a one-off or if it's a new theme. I do believe it was a one-off. I've seen somewhere on like social media. I can't remember where it was, whether or not it was confirmed that it was one, or where it was confirmed that it was a one-off. But that's just what I've been seeing. But it was a cool entrance for the Texas Death Match. And yeah, Hangman gets the attack on Mox in the crowd when Mox is making his entrance. This was a violent war. Both men were covered in blood by the end of it, as you'd expect from a Texas Death Match. Used barbed wire, a fork, chairs, bricks, even a chain was involved. And yeah, Hangman got the win after hitting Mox with a brick. Hits a buckshot, clotheslines Mox over the top, then had the chain wrapped around Mox's neck, similar to what he kind of did in like Ring of Honor with the Hangman spot, which is how he got the Hangman Page name, which forced Jon Moxley to submit. And yeah, I know it's not for everyone. Not everyone's a big fan of hardcore deathmatch wrestling. I am. I do enjoy that stuff every now and again. So yeah, I love this match. Again, another one of my matches of the night. And a lot of people going in were expecting this to be one of the matches of the night. I'm pretty sure I said in my predictions that I was going to go with this one over the Iron Man match, just because of how long the Iron Man match was. Spoiler alert, no, the Iron Man match was my match of the night after seeing both, but this one didn't disappoint me either. Up until the main event, this was my match of the night. I did slightly enjoy this more than the Elite and House of Black match, but that doesn't mean that was bad either. That was a good matchup. Yeah, violent war, as you kind of expect from these two, and the build these two had. And yeah, very good stuff here. Next up, Samoa Joe and Wardlow for the TNT Championship. The crowd were a bit flat in this one. And when they were up, it did seem to be more in Joe's favor, but you know, they were following a big Texas Death Match, so it's kind of understandable. Wardlow beats Joe by making him pass out to the Coquina Clutch, making him pass out to Joe's own finish as well, which was an interesting decision. I'm not really against it, but I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. So when Joe did pass out, the crowd was kind of like, oh, that's it. Okay. But yeah, Wardlow gets the win. Match wasn't anything special, but I won't call it bad either. It was just okay, it was solid. It won't be anything like worth going out your way to watch, but like I said, I won't call it terrible. I wouldn't say it was bad either. It was okay. It's solid. I am interested to see how they go about things now with Wardlow and Hobbs on Dynamite. I'm not a big fan of having Wardlow have a 3-day reign, but I'm also think they should put the belt on Hobbs. So maybe you have like a finish where Hobbs and Wardlow just kind of like brawl around for a bit. I know Wardlow did mention in the media scrum he does want to do like the open challenge concept as well. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how things go in that one and how they go about that, because I do like Wardlow. I thought, when he was at his peak last year, he was very good, and he could have been one of the top stars for the company. He did kind of cool off a bit. So do you give him a 3-day reign, or do you try and build him back up? But I also feel like Hobbs is a very good wrestler, and I would like to see him get the belt and go with him. But yeah, this isn't like predictions for what they do with Dynamite and what they do. It's a review. But yeah, I am interested to see how they go about things with Wardlow and this reign as TNT champion, because I know a lot of people weren't big fans of his last reign, and his last reign, it was okay. Like, it is hard for me. I am trying to think back of anything that I really liked about it. And there's not really come to my mind straight away, and there's nothing really come to my mind that I hate about it. It was just kind of a thing. But yeah, let's see how they go about this one. The Gun Club then defended the AEW World Tag Team Championship against The Acclaimed, Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, and Jeff Jarrett and Lethal. Gun Club do retain by pinning Danhausen after hitting the 310 on him. Again, this isn't anything really special, but it wasn't bad either. You know, it was another solid matchup that was enjoyable. Yeah, like not really else to say about there. There was a near fall that did nearly get me. I was expecting the Guns to retain. I did say that in my predictions, but there was a part of the match where Jeff Jarrett went to hit Max Caster with the guitar. Max then grabs it off him, and for some reason, the referee, I think it was Aubrey, takes the guitar off of Caster, even though it's a fatal 4-way and no real disqualifications in a fatal 4-way. You know, it's kind of like a weird thing, but we'll look past it. You know, it was how it was meant to go, but just logically doesn't really make sense. But I'm not gonna go on about that too much. This set leads to while Aubrey's getting rid of the guitar, this allowed Lethal to hit Caster with the Golden Globe that they took from I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays Stingray in Cobra Kai. They took his Golden Globe a couple of weeks ago on Rampage. He hit Caster with that, and I thought, oh, maybe they're going to go with Lethal and Jarrett. And I like Jeff Jarrett, I like Jay Lethal, so I wouldn't have been against it. I know a lot of people who wouldn't have been fans of it, but I wasn't against him possibly doing that. But that ended up, I can't remember if he kicked out if that got broken up, but that wasn't the finish. Anyway, after the match, Renee gets into the ring to interview the Ass Boys, who get interrupted by a returning FTR, who take out the Guns and hold the tag belts high. Dak somehow got caught up in during this. I don't know what was off. Yeah, I've written in my notes, everyone complained about this match and the Guns winning the tag belts, saying that it was the AEW's tag division was dead and all this. You know, a little bit of patience. This was just a means to an end. The Guns are just transitional champs for FTR. You know, I was kind of expecting FTR to be one of the teams in this failed 4-way when they were doing it, but again, I kind of mentioned that in my prediction, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but instead they decided to have them come back after the match, which will set up a tag team title match down the line, and I'm pretty sure everyone expects FTR to win. You know, they'll be getting their win back from the time they lost to the Gun Club on Dynamite towards the beginning of the year. I can't remember the exact date of when it was. And yeah, this also served as kind of like a blow off to the Acclaimed and the Gun Club feud, because now they're transitioning back into FTR. So yeah, it was yeah, I have no real complaints. It was solid, did its job, you know, to keep the belts on the Guns to set up for the FTR return. And that way, again, you don't really have to beat one of your teams like the Lucha Bros or something, because you know, if the Guns had to beat the Lucha Bros or Butcher and Blade, people would have complained about that as well. But you know, this way you keep the belt on the Guns to set up for FTR's return. And yeah, should be interesting to see then. You know, FTR will probably get the belts and go on and have a good tag team run, putting on great tag team matches every week. MJF versus Bryan Danielson in your 1 hour Iron Man match main event. MJF gets a special entrance with an orchestra and stuff, kind of playing his music. Bryan just had his standard entrance. I'm gonna kind of be looking down at my notes a lot for this one, because there's I've a lot written on it, kind of about the flow of the match. At one point, MJF did throw a drink at a kid in the front row, which is something I feel like only Max can get away with and do. And yeah, apparently the kid got to go backstage and meet a load of the wrestlers afterwards, because he did end up crying. But yeah, I feel like that's only something MJF would do. But you know, at least the kid got to go backstage, meet some wrestlers, and I believe Tony Khan was asked about this in the media scrum, and I believe he said that like the kid will be at like a future AEW show. So I don't know if they got like tickets to another show, or like invited to another show. But yeah, let's get back to and focus on the Iron Man match though. MJF was working over the injured arm of Danielson early on, which makes sense since MJF was targeting the arm in the build-up, and he's bringing in guys like Timothy Thatcher and Brian Cage to try to take out Danielson before, and they were kind of focusing on the arm, so it made sense with the build, and of course MJF with the Salt of the Earth armbar targets the arm and the shoulder, so a good bit of psychology there. Danielson ended up making it 1-0 with the knee. There's 34 minutes left on the clock here, so we got nearly halfway into the match before we got our first fall. But yeah, Danielson made a 1-0 with the knee. Danielson then went to set Max up for another knee, but Max collapses. But this is just bait, which Danielson ends up taking, or which baits Danielson in, allows Max to hit a low blow, which of course makes it 2-0 Danielson, but Max capitalizes by getting 2 quick pinfalls back to back, so it levels it up at 2-2. Because there was no breaks between falls, the low blow happened, then 2 quick pinfalls, kind of was, for a moment, it was like, what just happened here? Like, did the ref call for the DQ? Was like, there was a bit of confusion at first, but yeah, I have no complaints about MJF, cheating, dropping a fall just to get in 2 back and level it up. It is an MJF thing type to do, he is the heel. With 23 minutes left on the clock, MJF hits an elbow drop from the top of through the timekeeper's table onto Danielson, but Danielson gets in the ring at the count of 9. MJF then brings Danielson back out and tombstones him through the broken table, like the unbroken part of the table, which busts Daniel open. Max follows it up with a heat-seeking missile to take the lead 3-2 with 19 minutes left on the clock. Later on the match, a diving headbutt from Bryan makes Max bleed, and that busts Max open. Danielson then hits a knee and locks in the Regal stretch to level it at 3-3 with just over 10 minutes left. Again, continuing on, Max at one point hits an avalanche tombstone with about 2 minutes 30 left on the clock, but cannot capitalize as he hurts his knee, which Bryan Danielson had been working over throughout the match. Of course, he was kind of starting to limp at one point. Danielson targeting the knee. So again, good psychology there, taking out the body part, and Max not being able to capitalize and get the pin off at the top rope tombstone, or the second rope tombstone, because he came down landing on his knee. Max is eventually able to go across and get a cover, but gets caught in a single leg crab with a minute left on the clock. But Max holds on and then taps after the bell rings, and it gets called as a draw. The crowd are chatting bullshit at this point in time, because they were like, we waited an hour and you're giving us a draw. But then Tony Schiavone gets word in his earpiece, and he makes his way down to the ring and talks to Justin Roberts and Bryce Remsburg. At the match, Tony Khan has told him that we're not ending in a time limit draw, or we're not ending in a draw. We are going to have sudden death rules to get a winner, so the match is restarted. They go back and forth for a couple more minutes, trading near falls, making it look like either man could go and get the victory before MJF eventually does get the win. I believe they go another 7 minutes after the Iron Man match, which is just unbelievable work from both men. But yeah, Max eventually makes Bryan tap out to the label lock, Bryan's own move, after hitting him in the head with an oxygen tank, which was brought down to, because the doctors ringside were trying to give them once the hour was up, they were trying to give oxygen to, I believe it was MJF, and I'm not sure if they were giving it to Danielson as well, but that's why the oxygen tank was there at ringside. And the ref didn't see it because Max had rolled out to the outside, and Danielson was bending over to try bring him in, and he just hit him up with it. This match was incredible. Danielson and MJF put on a classic for over an hour. I believe it was 67 minutes. It went including sudden death. The match was so good. The time flew by. It didn't feel like it was an hour. It didn't feel like the match was dragging at any point. It was really good stuff. Like it just flew by the hour. Sometimes with Iron Man matches they do kind of drag. You're like, you're kind of looking, wow, only 10 minutes has passed, but now with this one, it was like, they put up the like timer, and it was like, wow, we're at the halfway point already. Like this is going by fast, and yeah, just goes to show how good both men did at keeping not only the viewer at home but the crowd in the arena invested into this one. Bryan Danielson is one of the best in the world for a reason. MJF is a very great worker as well. And yeah, really good stuff. I have this down as my match of the night. Really, really, really recommend. Go out your way. Check this one out. Check out, if you're into like hardcore wrestling, check out Moxley and Hangman as well. Check out the Elite and House of Black as well. That was awesome. But definitely, if I had to only pick one match, it would be this one. And yeah, overall, it was a fantastic show. Some great stuff. As I mentioned, MJF, Danielson, the Elite, House of Black, and Moxley and Hangman. All great matches. All matches that come December, January next year could end up, and probably will end up, on a lot of people's match of the year lists come the end of the year. FTR coming back, also very good thing, and great to see FTR back in AEW. There was talk about them leaving, and will they go back to the WWE, but I think this pretty much confirms they're staying. Otherwise, why bring them back? But yeah, happy to see FTR back. Jericho, Starks, and the Women's Triple Threat were also very good matches that I really enjoyed. Christian Jungle Boy, again, another good match that I enjoyed with the fun brawl. And yeah, everything else was solid. So yeah, overall, great stuff from AEW once again. Delivering another fantastic pay-per-view. Definitely one you should check out if you haven't. Really enjoyed it. Very well worth the €20 I spent on it on Fight. And yeah, if you did enjoy, leave a like. Let me know what you thought of AEW Revolution in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.